Hello. Can you all hear? Hello. Can you hear me? All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Harry Sawchuk. I'm a lawyer practicing locally. I'll be your moderator for tonight. I'll be your MC. You won't hear too much from me. I'm just going to go over some rules, some of the guidelines for the candidates, and then we'll get right into the candidates. We do have a lot of questions. We have great turnout. Thank you all for coming. So we're going to try to stick to our deadlines pretty quick, or our time limits pretty quickly, so that we can get through as much as possible. So for the candidates, you guys are welcome to leave takeaways for the public. However, you can't leave signs here, and you can't set them up here. Any leaflets left over at the end have to be taken with you. I'm going to introduce the candidates in the order they're sitting. The order they're sitting in was picked by random draw at the beginning, and this is the order that they'll be answering questions in. After the intermission, they'll be answering questions in the reverse order. When we begin, each candidate's going to have 1 minute and 15 seconds to make their opening remarks. At the beginning of their remarks and at the beginning of each question, there will be a ding for the timer to start, and then 1 ding when you've got 15 seconds left, and then 2 dings when you're done. And like I said, we're going to be, and then you're out. During the question period, we've had a bunch of questions submitted beforehand. We've gone through them to kind of cover as many topics as possible. So there's some great questions here. Each candidate will have 45 seconds to answer a question. So use your words wisely. At the end of the night, each candidate will have another 45 seconds to make any closing remarks that they want to make or address any questions that they weren't asked. So you'll have the same timing requirements for that. Each candidate is going to be asked 1 question. The next candidate is going to be asked the next question. The next candidate, the next question. So if there's a question that you want to speak to that you didn't get a chance to, write it down. You'll have a chance to address it at the end. It's like I said, we have a limited time. We have to be out of here at 8:30. They're going to just kick us all out. So I'm going to be pretty firm with you guys with your time limits, but don't blame me. So please keep your stuff concise and on topic. If you do, I know some of you took your question sheets out into the audience. That's fine. And if you do come up with questions over the course of the night, let us know. Just hold your hand up, and one of our fine helpers will come and pick up your question for you, and we'll add it to the pile. Yeah, close at 8:30. So that's it. Yes. They have 1 minute for each of their responses. 1 minute. Well, my mistake. I'm just stingy. Not 45 seconds. You get a whole minute to talk with your responses. Lucky you guys. Yeah. We'll be here all night now. All right. So with all that out of the way, I'll introduce all your candidates tonight. Starting at my left, we have Danny Scott, and we have Liz Bishop. You can stand up if you like. Yeah. If you want to. We make our own rules. Danny Scott. Then we have Liz Bishop. And we have Dale Plante. We have Deborah Wiens. And we have Laura Lauder. And Mike Williams. And Ian, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounced it, Oostindie. Ian Oostindie. Then we have Chelsey Lambert. And we have Percy Bryant. And Jordan Sinclair. All right. With all that out of the way, let's get into opening remarks. Again, each of you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. We'll start with you, Danny. Oh, actually, there's one other thing. There is a mic right in front of you. We're going to ask that you stand up and hand that down as each person has their turn. You do have to hold it kind of right in front of your mouth. Yep.
Hello.
There you go.
Oh.
Nope, you're going to stand and deliver it from your chair. Perfect. Yeah. Yep. Go for it. Whenever Angela gets our timer.
All right, good evening. My name is Danny Scott, and my wife Barbara and I have raised our 3 wonderful daughters in Sylvan Lake for 23 years. We've seen lots of changes. I've been retired for about a year now. Previous to that, I was in a leadership role with the town for 11 years, overseeing human resources, and later on added FCSS to the portfolio. In those 11 years, they've got pretty in-depth knowledge of just about every area. As part of a strong team in FCSS, we were able to successfully advocate for numerous grants totaling over $2.5 million, and they're still going on. So that number will grow. From an HR standpoint, we developed an employee culture of efficiency, teamwork, respect, and fun, focusing on customer service. A 40-year employee told me once that it was the best culture he'd ever worked in. I'm passionate about Sylvan Lake. I bring proven leadership, flexibility, and would love the opportunity to work with current town council to keep Sylvan Lake the amazing place that it is as a family-friendly town. I can do more if you want.
You have the whole...
Oh, boy.
You have the time, but there you go. All right, next we have Miss Liz Bishop.
Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event for residents and candidates to come together. My name is Liz Bishop. I have been a resident for 13 years in our beautiful community, and I look forward to the next 40. I am running to be your counselor because I know I can be a voice for all of our residents. I will make an impact and drive change, and will speak up when no one else will. I'm a business leader at a cooperative organization with values at the forefront and smart business planning that is fiscally responsible. I will bring experience in budgeting, strategic planning, project management, values-based leadership, and ample years of working experience to position me as a qualified candidate for our community. If you want a town councillor that is ready and willing to support inclusive parks and youth services, ready to address community crime in impactful ways, support improvements to transportation and roadways, and support our core, our residents, and our locally run businesses, please vote for the first name on the ballot, Liz Bishop. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Next we have Mr. Dale Plante.
Good evening. My name is Dale Plante, and I've been here resident, long-term businessman, and also served on council for 7 years under Susan Sampson and Sean McIntyre. Super passionate about Sylvan Lake, been everywhere in town, volunteering. Running for council is not a popularity contest. It is very much under the scrutiny of the community, but also has a responsibility to the residents. And I take that very, very, very seriously. That's why I'm running today for this position, because I'm really, really super proud of our community, not only where we are, but where we are going. What matters to Sylvan Lake? Well, also accessible and approachable leadership that could actually not only hear you, but actually acts on what you say. We have a lot of talk, but action is what we need. What matters also is the residents and also the visitors have a plan to be able to really enjoy this community together and not feel like either one is losing out. I really believe that we can do that. I believe that we also need to proactively grow as a community so that we can have employment opportunities for our children to stay here in the community. What matters is that we promote local businesses as well and give our attention to that. We need not only adequate ambulatory services, but we need excellent services.
Thank you, Mr. Plante.
Thank you. If I would have been.
Next we have Miss Deborah Wiens.
My name is Deborah Wiens. I have stood here before you twice requesting your vote. I'm asking for the third time. I have 1 minute to introduce myself and to tell you who I am. Now, I have the advantage because not only have you seen me here twice, but every year we put out our displays for the community to use. I could stand here today and tell you everything I'm going to do for Sylvan Lake. I can make you all sorts of promises. However, the reality is that there are 6 other people that will be part of that decision. So what I can promise you is I will work as part of a team. I will make sure I hear all perspectives. I will focus on residents. I will be impartial and respectful. Now, what can I tell you about myself? I like to be prepared. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. My motto in life is do the right thing, not the easy thing. That is why I'm here today. This is not easy, but I believe that it is my purpose. I am supposed to be on council. I respectfully ask you to mark Wiens on September 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiens. Next up, we have Miss Laura Lauder.
Thank you to the chair for putting on this forum tonight, and thank you again to Kendall Kloss, who was an amazing town councillor, and him and his family will be missed. They were a great asset to us. For a few years now, I have been attending town council meetings, learning about what it means to be a member of that council. I feel ready to join our current council while focusing on our youth, young families, and seniors. I have proven leadership skills while serving in many different organizations and societies, including the Sprays Park Society that I was the chair for 4 years. I offer myself as a fresh perspective on council, a voice that is not heard, a stay-at-home mom who knows what it takes to get work done, stretch a budget as far as it can go, and think outside of the box as often as possible. I look forward to earning your support and showing you why I am the right choice for Sylvan Lake, this proud place I am able to call home.
Thank you, Ms. Lauder. Next up, we have Mr. Mike Williams.
Good evening. My name is Michael Williams, and I'd also like to thank the Sylvan Lake Chamber of Commerce for putting this event on tonight to give us the opportunity to speak to you. When I was a volunteer with the Chamber, one of the presidents at the time, a gentleman by the name of Joel Johansson, described me with a hockey analogy. He said I was that winger that would go into the tough corners and do what I had to do to help the team win. I wear that with a lot of pride, and I try to embody that with everything that I do. I think it's that and my track record that makes me the best candidate to be your next town councillor. In addition to my volunteer work with the Chamber, I sat for 3 years as chair of the Municipal Planning Commission. I'm the current chair for Sylvan Lake Community Partners, and I'm vice president and a coach with Sylvan Lake Minor Football. What I'm most proud of is not that I was elected to these leadership positions, but that I was re-elected year after year by my peers, including members of the current town council, some of them. Jobs, healthcare, taxes, these are my core platform elements, and I look forward to answering your questions here tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Next, we have Mr. Ian Oostindie. Yeah?
O'Keefe, O'Brien, Oostindie. Even
Oostindie.
It's not Irish.
Nailed it.
Thank you for coming tonight and linking online possibly too. Thank you for the Chamber for hosting on our Treaty 6 lands. Our longer-term residents can wonder if this town is still enough of what they love. Some 10,000 of us can wonder about what attracted us to move to Sylvan Lake, and will our council and candidates still support that magic that keeps us here? Sylvan has doubled twice in 20 years. Imagine what it will be like in another generation. Collaboration is one of my key skills. Our town needs collaboration with the Alberta government, who is a partner for our growing infrastructure, whether the schools, highways, or special grants we need. We need collaboration within our town to find the solutions we want to promote. We need collaboration between the 10 governments involved in our lake. We are a treasure in Alberta, and we can host the province. I see the lake as a natural ecosystem, but I also see it as a visual jewel and recreational space which we want to use as a local and yet still host friends from away. Let's always, as stewards of this unique place, ask, is this good for the lake?
Thank you, Mr. Oostindie. Next up, we have Ms. Chelsey Lambert.
Good evening, Sylvan Lake. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. Thank you to all of you for showing up. I thought that people didn't take interest in by-elections. That's literally what I heard. And I love that there's this many people here. I love that there's this many of you that are passionate about your community. And I love that we're going to create great things together. My name is Chelsey Lambert. I moved to Sylvan Lake with my with my husband and my children 7 years ago, and I have been an avid Laker since. As a resident of Sylvan Lake, I have been dedicated to the overall wellness of the youth and their families of this town. I am passionate about mental health education and prevention. I'm committed to our community and maintaining Sylvan Lake as the best place to live. Grow up, do business, raise a family, visit. We're all here because we believe this is the best place to be. And I'm not going anywhere soon. I want to see our community continue to thrive and grow. I want to keep the cost of living affordable for your family. I want to advocate for every Laker, and I want to keep you happy. My connection and relationship with the youth of this community, along with my experience advocating for all residents, makes me the perfect addition to our current town council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert. Next, we have Mr. Percy Bryant.
Good evening. I'm Percy Bryant, and First, I thank the chamber, and then I'm going to say good luck and congratulations to all 10 of us here. I know out of all of these 10, any one of us would do a good job. First off, I've been a resident of Sylvan now for the second go-round for a total of 37 years. So I was back here when the town was 800 people. And yeah, it's not much. I'm a life member of the Royal Canadian Legion. I don't have a whole lot of experience in as far as towns or anything. I did work oil fields for 40 years, served on a lot of different committees, regulatory ones, and that even led a lot of safety meetings and everything. So my main concern is urgent care, followed up by probably road infrastructure, senior housing, and let's put our young people to work in Sylvan.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Last, we have Mr. Jordan Sinclair.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event. My name is Jordan Sinclair. I've been living in Sylvan Lake for 10 years, and I absolutely love this community. We're all very fortunate to be a part of such a caring, wonderful place. I, like Mike, have served on many committees. I was the chairman of the Municipal Planning Commission for 2 years. I worked with Craft Hockeyville as the fundraising coordinator, the Yuletide Committee, did fundraising for Shake the Lake, and have been involved in a lot of other community efforts, which I'm proud to have been a part of, and it's just enriched our community. It's great to be a part of that. I want to focus on things that we can fix. And our town's got great leadership. We have good long-term planning. There's good plans in place for long-term growth and infrastructure. That's very important, but things we can fix, well, for one is urgent care. You know, we really are, that's out of our control, but we can continue to give the support and the resources to the people that are working on that on our behalf so they can do a good job. We can fix other things. We can fix the crime on our lakeshore. We can look after the parking issues that we have for the people that live in the cabin area and the people that have businesses on Centennial. There's problems with speeding. A big problem I believe we have in Sylvan Lake is infill. If you take a look at the property where the old hotel was.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair.
I got one ding? Two.
Sorry?
Sorry.
2 dings, yeah.
No worries.
That's okay. You have another moment at the end to wrap it up. Thank you. All right. Our first question for Mr. Danny Scott has to deal with Parks and Recreation. The town recently released a Parks and Recreation survey. What ideas do you have that would or could improve our current options for locals? Begin when you like.
When's the ding begin?
The minute you say something.
All right, we do have some great parks. We've had some fantastic additions over the years. The spray park, I take my hat off to everybody that brought that in. That was on the books for a long time.
Sorry, Danny, I just need you to hold it. It's on. Just like
Is it on?
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh.
Your time. You can start your time again.
Well, now my thought process is toast.
Oh, sorry.
Anyways, we do have great park systems. We've got great trail systems. Again, I mentioned the spray park. Great group of people that brought that together. It's been on the books for a long time, and they stuck with it. And it's beautiful. The playground down at the beach is amazing. I had my own doubts when I heard how big they wanted to make it, but it turned out fantastic. Ideas, keep replacing the old playgrounds with new ones. I think we're just about done that. Our trail system, keep working on connectivity. If we can't put the trail, a paved trail, then maybe we paint some lines and try and get through there. So I would keep, I know the master plan is out for public input, so please put your input in. And also I think the evening, I can't remember, it's in mid-September sometime, so is that a warning?
Those
Oh,
are
shoot.
50 more seconds.
All right. Anyways, get out here and give your input. Like I say, we got a great system. Let's just keep building on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Just a reminder, the first ding, don't have to stop. It's just the warning. You've got 15 more seconds. Second ding, 2 dings is when you're out. Cut. Ms. Bishop, your question's about healthcare. What ideas do you have to help residents have better access to local doctors and to urgent care?
Thank you for the question. Nothing like thinking on your feet. I believe the Urgent Care Committee is doing a great job. We have seen a potential new doctor coming to Sylvan Lake, which is fantastic. It was unfortunate when we lost one of the major family physician facilities, Horizon. That was also my family doctor, so now I'm traveling to Red Deer for healthcare, which I don't love. I believe that the Urgent Care Committee is shifting their focus now from getting our center up and established and focusing on equipment now to recruitment and attraction of new doctors to our town, which I think is fantastic, and I think Town Council can support that in many ways. I also look forward to supporting the Tim Hortons initiative that's coming up with the Smile Cookies also going towards attracting new doctors towards our town. As far as what else we can do, I think we are at the mercy of hopefully getting more funding to bring more doctors, attract more doctors, and advocating to the government to help us do so. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Plante, your question has to deal with fiscal responsibility. Always exciting. If elected, what steps would you take to put Sylvan Lake on a firmer financial footing?
The first thing I would do is begin to look at other opportunities to bring other industry into Sylvan Lake. We can only do so much, and we can't put it always back on taxpayers. So I think we've got to continue to look beyond our own borders and find what we can attract to here. That's part of fiscal responsibility, but also when we're in this position that we are in right now, we also look at our own staff and our own situation. Can we do better with what we already have? I don't think we always have to continue just to add more taxes. I think that we need to look at what we're doing now, and I believe that we can be more efficient. This isn't a criticism, but every organization, including all the businesses, do the same thing, even through COVID, are looking at what can they do with this. So we got to be much more fiscal, responsible on a lot of those areas. I think that yes, there's going to be taxes, but what are we doing with it? How many more projects can we actually take on without burdening the town down? When we were doing all the major projects in the 7 years, we were able to get money very, very efficiently and at a low rate. We got the projects done, but now we have to lock down and make sure that we don't continue to add things that we can't handle here in Sylvan Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Plante. Ms. Wiens, your question is about business in Sylvan. Now, education in our community has been voiced as an important topic to support our increasing population. How do you intend to ensure the construction of new schools is a priority to support this? I suppose it's more about education than business, but that's your question anyway.
So to try to answer this question, I actually spoke about this a couple of times. Right now I have a son in grade 2. There are 4 grade 2 classes in one of our schools. 4. We have one high school here. It is very important to me that we're going to advocate to the stakeholders that are necessary, whether it's a Catholic school division or Wolf Creek School Division or Chinook's Edge. We need to talk to them and we need to say, Sylvan is growing. Sylvan is the place to be. We don't want our kids on the highway going to Red Deer all the time. We want to keep their kids here so that they can have business here. There's opportunities. I think that we really just have to talk and get the right people in the room to make the decisions, because having people in the room that are not going to be able to make the decisions is kind of pointless. You got to get the right people in the room, and I think that we could do that with the right people on council and create those really strong relationships that's going to bring some more schools here and definitely another high school here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiens. Ms. Lauder, I have a question that actually is about business this time. Does current red tape and distribution of information keep businesses from developing or expanding in Sylvan Lake, and should that be addressed?
I honestly couldn't tell you firsthand because I am not involved with any sort of business. But I have heard many people talk about how difficult it is to try to open a business or start it up. I'm not sure if that has a lot to do with the red tape aspect of it or if it's just hard because of the economy right now. I would like to see it easier. I would love to see more businesses here. I would love to see small business, large business especially, come here, and to increase it, or that opportunity to come here. If we can do that as a council, I would absolutely be for that. As far as changing rules or changing red tape or whatever is that required of that. So as far as that question goes, I don't know firsthand, but I definitely would be for it if it needed to happen.
Thank you, Ms. Lauder. Mr. Williams, your question. If elected, what do you think the biggest challenges the town of Sylvan Lake will face over the next 3 years of your term are?
Thank you. I would say that, in my opinion, the biggest challenge that's facing Sylvan Lake is going to be the increased taxation that we're facing as residents right now. We have a tax base that is disproportionately placed on the residents because we don't have enough commercial and industrial businesses currently located in Sylvan Lake. So unless we figure out some solutions, and my suggestion would be that we need to place a better focus on recruitment and using town resources to help go get industry, bring them to Sylvan Lake, let them know about the wonderful things that we have to offer here and what a great place it is to do business. I think by raising that profile and bringing those businesses in, it's really one of the few ways that we have to help increase that commercial tax base and take some of the pressure off of residents to incur those additional costs that are going to come as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Oostindie, this question is about qualifications. Have you personally served on any town committees? And if not, what other committees and boards have you served on that have prepared you for this role?
The answer is yes. I'm currently the chair of the Municipal Planning Commission. I'm also a former member of when it first started the Municipal Services Committee for the Town of Sylvan Lake. And I really enjoyed that. I actually applied to go on that again, but they mistakenly put me on this one, the Planning Commission. But joking aside, through my career, I've been, I couldn't tell you how many meetings I've chaired. I have chaired literally thousands. I've been the president of the Yukon Teachers Association 2 terms. I have been a trust fund chair between the Yukon government and the teaching profession. I've been on ethics committees, chairing as well. I've been on the National Canadian Teachers Federation board of directors. I am someone who loves committees, which is why I call myself a geek. And this is my life, and you could give me the chance to do more.
Thank you, Mr. Oostindie. Ms. Lambert, your question is also about business. If elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the Sylvan Lake business community?
Thank you. I spent a lot of time speaking with business owners, and in speaking with a lot of the business owners, one of the big things that I've heard is they want collaboration. They want to work with council. They want council to want them to work with them. They want to be a part of the decisions for our town, for our lakefront, for whatever part of the town that they're in. They really want to be a part of that. And so one of my priorities would absolutely be collaborating and connecting with business owners. And then in that, like was already said before, I want to be able to reduce some red tape so that they can expand their businesses. I spoke to a business owner recently who moved from an industrial area to the downtown core and felt that she faced many obstacles just moving her business from one part of town to the other. So I want our businesses to be able to feel like they can not only come to Sylvan, but they're part of the decisions and they can grow within our town while they're here.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert. Mr. Bryant, what is more important for Sylvan Lake right now? A, building new homes and commercial spaces, or B, rehabbing, expanding, or improving our existing community and commercial spaces?
We're not playing bridge, are we? Yeah, pal.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Bryant, my apologies.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay, well, one thing that I do believe, I think we have to look after seniors. As I'm just looking out in the audience here, and there's actually maybe 1 or 2 people older than me. And I don't think it's fair that our seniors have to be uprooted from a community they lived in and all their life and be sent to home, wherever, where they have no friends, no nothing. I think we need to look after them. As far as some of the housing that I've seen, since I've lived here, all I can tell you is the White House has been condemned for about 35 years and it's still standing. Can't believe it. It should have been down and there should have been something up there already.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. All right. Mr. Sinclair, your question. As a lawyer, this is close to my heart. Some of the items that are important to our residents are outside of municipal jurisdiction. For example, with healthcare. As a councillor, how would you play a role in making a difference without overstepping your authority?
That's near and dear to my heart. I'll start off with urgent care. It's not a secret, but we're not the only community with this problem. Really, we're at the mercy of AHS and the Alberta government. All we can really do is continue to stand behind the people that are working on behalf by giving them the support and resources they need and making sure they're well supported. Another issue that we have in Sylvan Lake is a lot of people don't really know what the responsibilities of the town are vis-a-vis the province or the federal government. And I think we could do a better job at getting the message out that Highway 20 is not the town's responsibility. We do need to work with the other governments, though, hand in hand, to make sure that we're getting the schools, the roads, the dollars we need to help on the lake, everything like that. It's collaboration. We all know a lot of people that are in other communities. We can band together with the other communities in our riding, like Innisfail and Penhold, to get what we need for our town. I think collaboration and education are the best things we can do.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair.
You win.
Thank you. We aren't going to have our intermission till 7, so let's keep going. Mr. Scott, I'll ask you about municipal franchise fees. Do you feel that the gas and power municipal franchise fees are a fair way to collect taxes? Why should lower income families pay a higher % of their income to this tax? Take your time with that one.
Wow. Franchise fees. I'm going to have to go back to the old accounting days for that one. It is a method for us to collect taxes. Now, how it's done and how it should be split out can obviously be examined. I don't know if they're set by the province or set by the franchise fees or the MGA, but I think absolutely we could have a look at that and make sure that it's more equitable. It's just too heavy.
It's a heavy question.
It is a heavy question, and I'm sorry. Like I say, I know of franchise fees, but I'm not an expert in it, so I need to get together with the finance department and see exactly what it is, and then lobby the people by becoming partners with them, just like everybody's talked about lobbying, and present our case and make sure that we can work in partnership with them. So I'm going to leave it at that before I fumble anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Bishop, your question is about street parking. Sylvan Lake is growing to a city. Safety concerns in regard to the flow of traffic and necessity to pull around parked vehicles on major town arteries are growing important. What are your thoughts on how to effectively manage street parking?
Thank you for the question. I actually received this multiple times through social media about the challenges we face on our main roads and having to maneuver around vehicles that are already parked. I think there is a few solutions, and I think a couple of them are underway. As much as I don't want to dive into the construction going on the highway, it will alleviate, I believe, some of the traffic that is flowing through our main street as well as Memorial Drive, because residents will be able to jump on through those roundabouts and hopefully get from one end of Sylvan to the other much quicker. And hopefully that will alleviate some of our main road congestion. I also believe with some of the residential construction we're seeing, the connection of Crestview to Memorial will also alleviate some of those residents traveling on that main strip that takes us from one end to the other. And I believe I answered your question, but in general, I believe there's lots that we can do to alleviate the heavy traffic, especially outside of the summer, and I think we are well on our way to doing that already.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Mr. Plante, your next question is also about transportation. How do you feel about the transportation options available for residents? And if you don't like them, how would you improve them?
Well, I think there's a lot more we can do in transportation. As a growing town, we've got to look at the ability to be able to go in between Red Deer and here, even in transportation. I think Community Partners has got a program that's starting to be maxed out, but the fact is, I think we have to look at some options. Even if it is something that still costs us something, we do have to be able to get those options going. I know there are numerous ones, and I think the private sector is one that we can begin to look towards, but we've already seen that, and some of them did not work because there was not the ridership to be able to do that. I think there's a whole lot of things that we could do internally. I think the town's doing a great job in terms of our taxi services and our limos and the other things that are coming here so that we can, if we can bring the rates down where that actually becomes more affordable also, that makes a huge, huge difference, not just to seniors, but anybody in town. So I think that we got to look at all those options and say, well, who can we attract in that has that option in other towns as well? Because other towns have this already being covered.
Thank you, Mr. Plante. Good input. Miss Wiens. Serious business, guys. What do you perceive to be the biggest challenge for small businesses in town?
Gonna go out on a limb here, but I think it's about we advertise we're a town. You have all these small town businesses that we say we're the town of Sylvan Lake. When you're trying to attract new business or you're trying to get people to go into these...
Sorry, Miss Wiens, just a bit more up here.
No one has ever accused me of being quiet. Like, this has never happened to me.
Now's your chance.
Shh. So in all seriousness, I think that we need to kind of say, like, we're 15,000 people plus. There is areas that we can go to and say, I'm trying to best explain it, I'm sorry, but we have all these town businesses and advertising to the communities that we're special, that we're not just, we're unique in certain businesses that we have here that maybe Red Deer doesn't have or maybe Innisfail doesn't have, and draw those people in, and just making sure we let people know about us, and that might be through word of mouth or sharing social media, or the council will help put out a letter. I think that's probably the best that I can say off the top of my head.
Thank you, Ms. Wiens. Ms. Lauder, your next question is pretty straightforward. What are your strongest areas or best skills with respect to municipal business? Yep. Well, the question is with respect to what are your strongest areas of expertise or your best skills with respect to municipal business? So whoever that means to you,
Okay.
running a business.
All right. Sorry, I'm trying to wrap my head around what that would mean. Sorry. I think that when it comes to dealing with other people, no matter whether it's a municipal business or some other people that we need to talk to, as a counselor, I have good communication skills. I am able to feel comfortable talking in front of people, obviously. And I like to get to know people and see what I can learn from them and what they could perhaps learn from me. And when it comes to municipal business, it's probably the same idea where we can elaborate with one another, talk to each other, see what we can learn from each other, and what we can do to help and support each other. When it comes to what Deb was talking about, I think it's important that as town council we promote our businesses as much as possible, because they are struggling, and it's not a matter of lack of people being here, it's a matter of lack of people maybe knowing about them and finding them and supporting them.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, your next question is, what is your position on instituting a provincial police force?
Okay, well, I guess I can give my opinion on that because it's not really something that's going to be under direct control of the municipality of Sylvan Lake, of course. But since we're going to talk on a little bit of a higher level, let's go for it. So I actually am not in favor of establishing our own provincial police force. Thank you. I've been fortunate enough to have served in a volunteer capacity with a couple members of our existing RCMP dispatch, and I think they're doing a wonderful job. I think they're doing fine. They're very committed to our community, and again, I'm just speaking on a local level here. In any encounters or dealings that I've had with them, which again, in a non-criminal way, I found them to be absolutely very professional and wonderful people. So again, to wrap it up once again, no, I would not support a provincial police force. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Oostindie, this topic relates to the Resort Municipality Initiative Program. Council recently announced their support of this program. Do you support this? And if so, what advantages do you see for the town if it is adopted?
As I understand the initiative, the idea is that we are a provincial jewel. We are not just a location that just we as a town know about. We invite the world literally to our shores, and the basic advantage is that if we're recognized as a resort town, this would justify granting to us to pay for the extra costs of hosting our province. So I am totally in favor of that. It also is why I was a little bit nervous when we took over the provincial park, because the provincial park came with a budget, and then suddenly we have to now take power over it and pay for it. And so that made me nervous. I think we're doing a great job, and the province did a good handover. But the idea of a resort town getting that status with government is critical, I believe, to solving many of our stresses that I constantly hear about.
Thank you, Mr. Oostindie. Miss Lambert, how would you like to see the town handle the influx of visitors during peak tourist seasons?
How would I like? Well, you know what? I've talked to, actually this week, I've spoke to several people that have talked to me about the pros and the cons of how the town's handling it. And I think that the most important thing that we need to remember when we're thinking of handling the tourists, because handling the tourists is kind of like a loaded question, right? Does that mean safety? Does that mean places for them to stay? Does that mean cleaning up after them? So it means all of them, right? So we need to look at it with a lens of how are we going to make this town, how are we going to keep this town a place that our residents still love, that our residents still want to be in, that our residents can still enjoy, while we are still able to host visitors that are going to put money into our economy, that are going to take care of our town, and that are going to keep coming back and like a lot of us do, come here and live and become a member of our town. So how are we going to handle them? I think it's a really complex question, and I think how we're going to do that is together.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert. And Mr. Bryant, this question would like you to give a specific example of a time when you have faced conflict in a professional setting and how you managed it while still being effective in articulating your views.
Who wrote that?
Wasn't me.
So, well, like I said, I don't know if that's really a town question, but just in personal life, working with the oil field, I started with Alberta, turned into Petrocan, turned into Suncor. Petrocan was probably the best because they had an employee management group, and I was on there, so I dealt with anger management and conflict of different resolutions. God, I saw the home on my wall, all the plaques. But it's being able to listen to the other person and listen to yourself before speaking. You know, this is always second. This should always be first. You know, that's all I have to say. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about it, but I broke my nose once or twice being right.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Mr. Sinclair, your question is on underdeveloped or vacant properties. What would you do to ensure that vacant properties are addressed in a timely manner?
That's a very good question. We only have to look at the corner of Centennial and Lakeshore to see an example of that. The most prime piece of real estate in central Alberta lay vacant. I've been here 10 years, it's been empty longer than that. My solution for that is to raise taxes on undeveloped or buildings that have fallen into disrepair, like the Kentucky Fried Chicken downtown, for example, or the old hotel location. Unfortunately, we cannot do that because the Municipal Government Act won't allow us to do it. So what I believe we need to do is we need to get together with other communities that are facing the same issues and collaborate with them and go to the provincial government and lobby them to change the Municipal Government Act so that we can go ahead and make rulings or decisions that allow us to make our town the way that we want it. It's collaboration, it's working with other communities.
Thank you, Thank you very much, Mr. Sinclair. You guys are doing great with sticking to the time limits. We are a little bit ahead of time. I think we'll take our 10-minute intermission right now. Give your candidates a round of applause. They've been great so far. And we'll see you guys back here at 7 o'clock. May I have your attention, please? Hello. They can't hear me? Can they hear me now? Excuse me, everybody. Sorry to distract you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to ask everybody we are running a little bit low on questions, so if anybody has some burning other questions, take them up to the front and we'll add them to the queue. This is your time to engage with your candidates, so go for it. Hello, everybody. If I can just ask everybody to take their seats again, we'll get going. If I could just ask everybody to please take their seats. If everybody could just please take their seats, that would be great. You could make your way back to your seats, and we'll get going again. You can take your coffee. Round two. Okay. Everybody's got coffee and water. All right. We did great last time. Thank you, everybody, for sticking to your timelines. We're going to be starting at the other end this time. Get myself straight here. All right. Mr. Sinclair, we're going to start with you. How would you collaborate with other local authorities and communities to bring people and business to the area?
I would work with the other communities collaboratively with their business attraction departments to lobby the government for funding to help attract business. You can put a package together with the communities that you're nearby to help attract business, to show how great it is to live in central Alberta. You may be able to get together or perhaps do some incentives to attract business, but collaboration and relationships with the people in the other communities are very key. I'm blessed actually that I have good relationships with some of the people, the mayor and councillors in Penhold and councillors in Innisfail. So it would be, smooth and easy to work with them to do something to attract business to our area. I think it's key that we work together, that we're organized, and we work on a common front.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Bryant, your question is about a potential performing arts center. Would you commit to such an undertaking before any more sports facilities are built?
Can I have this question?
Did I say the names wrong?
Like I said before, who is writing these questions? Okay, thank you. You must have known me when I was 18. I actually, I did play guitar in a band, and so I'm behind performing arts, not necessarily music, dance, you name it. Whatever makes the kids going, keeps them out of trouble. What was the second half of that?
Would you commit to building a performing arts center instead of a sports center? I guess.
And sports, I'm very keen on sports. Played hockey, coached hockey, refereed hockey to the point I was invited to 2 NHL camps, but never went because of being bullheaded. But we need places for the kids. Either or will work.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Miss Lambert, your question's about downtown. Do you think that we have a healthy Main Street in downtown? And if not, what do you think should be done to change that?
Thank you. I think this is a complex question because when I think of this question, I think of safety. I think of our youth. I think of our families. I think of our tourists. And there's things that happen many times throughout the day that can be healthy and can be unhealthy. So there isn't one answer to do we have a healthy downtown. It's that we're only as healthy as the people that are in our downtown. We're only as healthy as the choices that are happening. And we're only as healthy as the goals that we set. So one of the things that I am most passionate about is overall health and wellness for our residents, for our families, for our community, for our businesses. And I look forward to having the opportunity to work with our current council and with our residences, and like I mentioned before, with our downtown businesses to create and maintain a healthy downtown core.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert. Mr. Oostindie, your questions about water treatment. Hard water and scale could be addressed municipally. What solutions to this issue could you bring to council?
I got a water softener for sale. I'm going into the water softening business for sure then. But quite seriously though, I don't think I would be of the mindset to say I'm going to soften the water for all of the town. I think that's quite an expensive endeavor, but always be open to new ideas. And maybe there is an engineer that can tell us otherwise. In my own home, for instance, I do have a water softener, and I don't soften any of the water that goes out on the lawn. So why would we soften every bit of water that we flush down a toilet, that we spray on our lawns, that we put on park fields? The idea of water softening makes sense where you need it, and that's where you drink it. So I think that solution has to be done at a micro level, not at the macro level.
Thank you, Mr. Oostindie. Mr. Williams, your question. Your question's about competition. How do you feel about business competition? Should we limit the number of businesses within a particular area? For example, pizza shops or liquor stores? Those two, I want to hear comments on those two specifically.
Do they also put cannabis stores in there as well? Because
Nope, just beer.
God, there's the trifecta. So, you know, and I've seen this comment on social media a lot lately, and you know, about, well, do we really need another pizza restaurant? Do we really need another liquor store? It's market driven. It's not something that we can restrict or that we should restrict as a community to say we can only have this many type of businesses or that many type of businesses. Competition spurs innovation when the more pizza restaurants, and to be honest, some will survive and some won't. Again, that's all part of business, and I believe that we should be encouraging more industry to come to town. Now, this is actually where it's kind of near dear in my heart, is that if we make a bigger effort to recruit industry, those industry that setups, that'll bring jobs. Jobs will bring more people in town. People that are currently commuting can work in town. There's more people to populate those businesses, and new businesses will open. And you won't notice that there's so many pizza or liquor stores or cannabis stores on every street corner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Lauder, your question has to deal with youth. How would you support and expand youth programs in our town?
Thank you. So obviously as a council, you aren't able to just say, you know, let's do this and start. You need to have backing from the town. And one of the things that I've actually noticed when I was attending town council meetings is a group of people who are starting an initiative called Yeah. And it is youth an advocating place for them. And it is an amazing project that I'm sure you'll continue to hear about for years to come. And I would definitely support that as much as possible because I love everything about that project that has come forward. I'm very involved with teens. I was a basketball coach this last season. You don't believe me, but I was. And I love our town, and I love our community, and I love our youth. And I think that Flipside is an amazing place for them to be. And I love this project of Yeah, if you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, please look into it because it's going to be great.
Thank you, Ms. Lauder. Ms. Wiens, your question. Having people work and live in our community is the key to growth of all business and services within our community. How would you like to see home-based and small businesses supported?
I think in the last year or two, we've had to become very innovative how normal work was done. So jobs that we felt that could never be done at home That's happened. So in order to support the new businesses coming in that are home-based, we need to look at what the process is right now. Does it still make sense? If it was written 20 years ago, 5 years ago, is it still current today? If it's not, let's look at it. Let's make sure there isn't red tape. Let's make sure the fee to get it open is not exorbitant. Because when you think about it, if you're starting a new business, you have all these fees and you're a small business. If you make the fee to come in $500, $1,000, and I don't know what our fee is right now, we need to make it affordable for those businesses to start. And if there is a program, I believe that they can get mentors in Sylvan Lake already, so to make sure that's being used. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiens. Mr. Plante, what strengths do you bring to the table to help direct town council?
I think the strengths that I bring is a lot of background in terms of business. And I think when you look at Town of Sylvan Lake, whether we like it or not, it is a business and the way that we have to look at things. And that's one of the things that I can break down. I think we also, with that, we can break down our weaknesses and our strengths. So I really think that I've had a lot of collaboration. I've done a lot of different things on committees. I'm not going to go into all the different things done over the years. But I haven't worked with council over the 7 years to know what it's like to be able to be under that gun and to be able to know the pressures that it's under. I think that's very, very important to be able to handle that. And so the council that are here, this by-election is not about filling the gap. It's about adding more the strength right to what we already have. And I believe that coming into that is very, very important. That's why it's so important with this by-election. And I believe that I bring those strengths, the passion, the business, and I have a lot of background in this area.
Thank you, Mr. Plante. Ms. Bishop, do you have a plan or an idea for attracting large-scale employers to the town?
I've been nervous about the question I was going to get based on these other ones that have come through. I come from a background of project management and business planning. I work for a cooperative, so growth for us is key to our success. And I believe I can bring some of those skills to the table to support growth in any sector, including bringing large business if that is the appetite for our town. I think, of course, it depends what large business. We have seen some large businesses come to town that, from what I've heard, have not supported small business by them coming. So I think we need to be cautious of who we are attracting to town, but I do believe that I can bring some great project management, strategic planning skills to the table, as I do on almost a daily basis in my role, that can help us drive businesses to town and make sure we're bringing in the right business to town. I still have time.
Go for it.
Oh,
15 seconds.
just ran out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Good project management. Mr. Scott, business is clearly on everybody's mind. This is also about employment. If elected, would you promote a local Employ Our Youth program where we could see the town help cover some of the costs of hiring students, even if just for the summer months before they return to school?
Interesting question. Well, we can't get enough students to fill the positions we currently have right now. But I do think that any encouragement to get the students working is a good concept to have. I think that, like I say, to me, there's lots of jobs. Everywhere you go, it says now hiring, down to Walmart today, past any fast food place, etc. So it might be helping them with some skills, some resume writing skills, some interviewing skills, etc. But the more you can get the youth into the workforce, the more that they can start, I guess, maturing, earning their own money, and getting exposed to working with groups of other people. We talked about a conflict resolution question before. That's a place where you're going to get some of that practice, unfortunately. So I'm in favor of it. I've been in HR for 36 years. The young kids that come in, they need to be trained, and they need to learn some life skills. I think it would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Now we all get to wait. All right, Mr. Sinclair, back to you. What is your experience with advocacy, and what was your approach to arguing for your ideas?
I've done a lot of advocacy. I was the former I'm sorry, I'm struggling a little bit here. I was a former, sorry, I have a scent issue and there's a lot in the building and it's giving me a bit of a migraine. So could I restart my minute?
I think that's okay.
Advocacy is something I've done a lot of, working with hand in hand with people at Craft Hockeyville and Shake the Lake as an example, going out on behalf of those organizations and doing fundraising, putting things together. That's always been something I've greatly enjoyed. Advocacy could fall. I was the Central Alberta representative for the Alberta Mountain Bike Alliance when we were fighting to keep our trails open. And by collaborating with other people, having a clear, concise plan, it usually works out fairly well. Everything that we do, all the initiatives we do take advocacy, and it's very important that that's done in a proper manner. And really, that's all I can say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Bryant, what do you think is one challenge that Sylvan Lake faces in the immediate future?
Well, just driving around on the roads in Sylvan Lake, I would say that's probably something that needs to be addressed. I think with Highway 11 construction out there, that took a year and a half past when they wanted to start. The Highway 20, I actually went out the other day and I sat for probably 3 minutes at the one intersection. So I think I'm not an advocate of roundabouts, but it would help. If they're going to fix any roads in Sylvan, I would like to see them do it right the first time, not dig it up a year later and again. Highway 11 by the Frosties, that's a perfect example of how to fix a road. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Ms. Lambert, this questioner is concerned about fiscal expenditures. What are your views on the town budget?
When I hear this question, I hear something that a lot of residents have talked about. They want to make sure that the town is spending their money in the right places. They want to make sure that the programs and services available are affordable. We are facing an inflation crisis. And so it is very, very important that we not only think about every single decision that we make financially, but we think about it twice. And we need to revisit it. And sometimes we need to revisit it more than once because prices are fluctuating over and over and over again. And I understand that that's not necessarily how things work. We make a decision and then we get to go back in a month and change it. But we need to be incredibly aware of how we're spending the money, how we're being responsible. And we need to be intentional with every single dollar that we spend because we need to keep the cost of living affordable for every single person here.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert. Mr. Oostindie, this is actually a question that's come up many times. Where are you currently employed and how do you intend on juggling your priorities?
That's a simple
Not about
one.
you specifically.
I'm unemployed. Actually, 35 years, 6 days a week, I'm done, I jokingly say to my friends. I actually just finished a 35-year career in education, public schools, administration. And so juggling is kind of an interesting concept to me. I want to be busier. I gave myself, with my wife here, 6 months to reimagine my work life. And a few days into that 6 months, we get an email from a friend who says, hey, tell Ian about the vacancy on council. And so that's why I said yes. I finally can get involved deeply in my community politics because I can serve. That's the key right now for me. I can finally say yes. And I tend to volunteer a lot, like I've been with the library. Wife restarted Friends of the Library 10 years ago and been involved in that. I've been on community foundation boards, all these things I've been doing. and I'm keeping up in that. Our children are grown up and out of the house now, so
Thank you,
no
Mr.
juggling problems.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
They keep coming back.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Oostindie. Thank you, Mr. Oostindie. Mr. Williams is next, and his question is about e-scooter programs. Electrical scooters and bikes are common on our trails. The majority, this questioner feels, are being ridden too quickly and riders do not pass safely. Is there a need for regulations, and what would you recommend?
A few weeks ago, I was downtown on Centennial speaking with some business owners, and they expressed their concerns on it, and we just looked across the street and watched a scooter go by at what appeared to be about 30 miles an hour right down the sidewalk. And yeah, so it's an issue. Now here's where I see the challenge personally, is that right now we've never, while we have a decent trail system going east to west, we don't really have any sustained trails or designated lanes going south to north. And again, from the residential areas down to the waterfront. If elected, I would ask council to revisit the capital plan for the redevelopment of Centennial Street, and that's coming up in 2025, with the idea of putting in some, as we like to refer to it, people-powered transportation access to try to get them off the sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Lauder, why do you want to be a councillor, and what do you think you can do differently from the councillors that we already have?
Quite simply, I just really want to be involved with the town when it comes to decisions that are made and how to help and support the citizens of our town. I have been a volunteer for many, many years. I have been a stay-at-home mom, and so now that my kids are older and leaving the house, I find myself with a lot more time, and it just felt natural for me to go ahead and do what I could when it comes to this town and put myself forward as a town councillor.
How would you be different from councillors we already have?
So when you take a look at current council, the one great thing about the by-election is we already know who 5 of the councillors are. And so you can look at them and say, what is missing, or who do we have, and look at the people who are sitting here and say, who would fit nicely. And for myself, I think I would fit nicely because I'm not a business person. We have 3 people on there who are currently small business owners. So they think business, and we don't need everyone thinking business. We need people who are thinking differently.
Thank you, Ms. Lauder. Now this question is about bylaws and animals at large, and actually starts with stage directions. Here, kitty, kitty. Although there is, sorry, and this is for Ms. Wiens, I should have said that. Although there is a general animal at large bylaw, cats roaming our neighborhoods reduce the rodent population and are a socially accepted norm. Where do you stand on animals at large? You can include cat noises if you like.
I'm not going to lie on this. I have not thought about this a whole heck of a lot. I did see a post on Facebook today where someone had posted 2 dead rats, maybe it was mice on there, which I really appreciated seeing. Obviously, I think we need to keep our pets where they should be and at your house. I don't own a cat. I don't know much about them. I do believe they roam, but I do believe many people keep them in their houses. I kind of think that's where it should go. I know we recently just redid the animal bylaw last year and a half ago. That was quite talked about by many. When I read it, it looked pretty inclusive. So I think it's a challenge. Like I said, I think you should try to keep your pets at home. And I don't know what the fine process is surrounding not doing so.
Thank you, Ms. Wiens. Mr. Plante, with respect to seniors housing, what do you think the town can do to help those who need a place to stay as they get older?
I think we want to have our seniors stay in Sylvan Lake, first of all. and make that available. Because you know what, there's a lot of people that are downsizing, and then I think that at that point we can have more homes. We can definitely go after the developers to come here, Christensen Homes and some others, and be able to build 4 more facilities. I would love to see a gated community in Sylvan Lake where there's that opportunity where they can come and stay and not have to worry about a lot of the things that you don't have to do in a regular home. I think we've got a ton of things we can do. Seniors are absolutely crucial, and I think that we need to put them on the forefront when we're making decisions about this and ask them what they want. We've got a fantastic senior center here, 150 or 200 members. They can tell us what they need. Rather than us telling them what to do, that we need to say, what would you like and what fits your budget? How can we make this work? And also they can have accommodations here where they go seasonal, where they're going to be away for 3 or 4 or 5 months of the year, where they're going to be snowbirds. How do we make that work for them? And I really think there are a lot of things that we can do with the housing that we already have here in Sylvan Lake, and we can get new projects.
Thank you, Mr. Plante. Miss Bishop, this questioner thinks the beaches are messy. What steps would you take to deal with litter on the beaches? What kind of enforcement options would you support?
Thank you for the question. This is something I have experienced in past summers, especially around the garbages that may have been already full and residents and visitors may continue to dump next to them. I do believe we do have a great town staff that do clean our beach area regularly. I always caution that any additional enforcement of anything does cost money. So it would be a factor of if we are going to add more resources to the downtown core for cleaning up the beach, that does come at a cost. However, there is things that are minimal cost that we could do, more reminders about, I know there was one, the poop fairies and that have gone on in the past, those promotions. There's definitely lots of intuitive ways that will be low cost that our great town resources can put together to remind people of where garbage goes, add more garbage cans and recycling throughout the downtown core, and remind people of what the environment will mean to us now and in 50 years.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bishop. Mr. Scott, the last question goes to you, and it is, what role does Sylvan Lake have in nurturing the economic prosperity of central Alberta as a whole?
This the last question of the evening?
Yep.
All right, 7 years ago. No, the Sylvan Lake, and it's been mentioned before, is a jewel, right? It is the best lake beach in the province. It will attract people. We feed through Signet Lake. We feed into the Red Deer River eventually. This lake is critical to keep it in good condition, keep it clean, so that everybody can enjoy it. I've often thought that if we polluted this lake too much, had too many people on it, too many housing fronts, etc., with big developments, you'll lose the lake. If you lose the lake, you lose Sylvan Lake. You lose the town. So it's critical that we stay on top of it and make sure that we, I guess, keep with the efforts that we have been doing with some of the committees that have been in place to keep it pristine.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
I still got 15 seconds.
15 seconds, go for it.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Yep. Well, we're actually gonna move to each party's closing remarks now. We're a bit ahead of schedule, so instead of 45 seconds, you're each gonna get a whole minute to.
I just have to say something. I know myself and other people have put questions in, and I would like to know why they're being censored. I'm a Sylvan Laker, and I've asked questions of the members that are up here today, and somebody here has censored every single question. Not one question that myself or my friend put in, which is I think a total of 8, has been answered here today. Why is that?
So we did try to pick questions that cover a broad range of topics and a broad range of interest. All these candidates will be more than willing to, I'm sure, more than willing to talk to you if you have questions for them directly. They'll always be available. But the Chamber is trying to cover as many, the interest in the questions of as many citizens of Sylvan Lake as possible.
Okay, so I'm just going to point out, you asked questions, you said this question has came up multiple times. The questions that I asked did not come up once. So somebody is cherry picking what they want these people to answer and what they don't want to answer. And I don't think as a community member, that's fair. I think every question should be answered by whoever is asked up here. Whether they like it or not, or if they're comfortable, they can decline. But every question should be answered. We are supposed to be inclusive, right? Every question should have been answered. Thank you. You have all the questions. You could just go through all the questions that were in the basket and ask the questions. You have time.
I'm not sure which question yours was specifically, but
There's many
if
that have not been answered yet, so you could go through the ones that they have chosen to pull out. You could pull them back and you could ask the questions.
like I said, we have a bunch you pull out. I am prepared to, if you'd like to come up and ask your question now, you can come do so.
Who was answering the question? Let them all answer. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for my attire, it was a beach day for me today. The question that I wanted to know is, do you support the Charter of Rights and Freedoms of Canada? No. It is the backbone of our society, and I would like to know, it's the backbone of our society, and I would like to know if the members support that. If they decline to answer, that's fine. But it is what molds us as Canadians. It's who we are. It's our laws. So if anybody would like to answer that, if they do support that, that would be great. Thank you.
I'll leave it to each candidate.
I think there's a few of us that'll answer that.
Each candidate can answer as they like, or they can move to their closing remarks.
I'm going to absolutely answer that. I think that I could speak for everybody in this building that, of course, we support the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Absolutely. It's the backbone of our society. And I'm done. I'm not responding anymore to bullies, and that's exactly what happened here. Of course I support it.
Charter of Rights is what founded our country. We have a great country, we have a great province, we have a great town. Let's keep continuing supporting that Charter of Rights.
It's been already said, and it's probably going to be said all through this line. Again, how we make our decisions as a province, as a country, as a municipality should all be founded within the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And I absolutely support the Charter and the rule of law. And I can see that I'm not the only one here.
In both official languages, oui and yes.
Absolutely, 100%. I support the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. As many of you whose parents, grandparents came to Canada as whether you're first generation, second generation, or third generation, I believe we all have a incredibly strong and vested interest that everybody's voice needs to be heard and respected throughout this country, no matter what the issue is. So yes, I will always stand up for the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Exactly what they said.
Yes, I would agree that I believe in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and that is what happened here today. Just because someone doesn't like what someone is saying doesn't mean that they don't get to voice their opinion. So that's exactly what the Charter on Rights and Freedom is about, I believe. So I absolutely support it.
Yes. So I can say absolutely. And that's what I grew up in, all my country, and I'm super proud of where we are as a country. And I believe that we need to absolutely defend it with everything that we have.
I apologize that you feel your questions were not answered. I do know a couple that were going to go in that maybe we didn't have time for that were too related to other questions. I have a legal administration background, so I do respect law and the effort that goes behind it at all levels, and I am a proud Canadian, Albertan, and Laker. That's all I get.
Well, there's not a lot to add. I absolutely agree with it. Everybody deserves the right to be treated as an individual with respect and dignity, and I support the Charter. Thank you.
All right. Yes, please. Yeah. Thank you to the candidates for that. I'm glad we could do that. We'll now move on to our closing remarks. As I said, each party gets a minute. You'll get one ding when you're 15 seconds left, and then 2 dings when you're done. We'll begin with Mr. Jordan Sinclair.
Thank you again to the Chamber for putting this on, and thank you for everybody that came out. It's great to see such a great turnout. I love Sylvan Lake. This is an absolutely amazing place to live. I love all my neighbors. The community is amazing. The way people come together for any effort that we decide to put our minds to, like craft hockey, for example. That brings the community together. I've never seen anything like that ever happen. I want to use the skills I've developed over my professional career. I work in finance to ensure that we have affordable amenities for our community. I asked earlier if I could have the question for a performing arts center. I think that's something that Sylvan Lake sorely needs. We have lots of great amenities, but we don't have that. My vision for one is having a band shell where the water slide was, so we can bring festivals into town and reinvigorate our downtown. That's really key to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Bryant.
Thank you once again, and I think you guys can give yourself a round of applause for showing up. I hope all 10 of us left a favorable impression on you, and all I can say, the town is what? I've heard 14,000, 16,000, but in any event, we only get 20% of the people out to vote. That's not very many. The mayor may as well appoint a councillor instead of having a vote when it's that low, I think. All I ask, tell your friends, family, September 6th, come on out and vote. It's your patriotic duty to vote. It's a freedom that we still have, you know. You don't necessarily have to vote for me. I won't shoot you or anything. I'll punch you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Miss Lambert.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up tonight. Thank you for submitting your questions. Thank you for thinking hard about the things that are important to you and your town, for taking time out of your day, for taking time out of your life, and time out of your summer, which it really has like one day left because the children go back to school. So I want to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for coming here, because we wouldn't have had any questions, and it would have been boring. I think we could have asked each other the same questions. I hope that you have learned something about me tonight. I hope that you have had your questions answered and that you feel satisfied with some of the information that you've gained tonight. With your support, I will continue to advocate for youth and families. I will work with our council to maintain a strong, resilient economy that is attractive to new business, it reduces red tape for our business owners, and will ensure that we deliver effective and efficient services. I have to skip through some. I will continue to fight for you, advocate for you. I will continue to listen to you, and that means every single one of you. I hope that on September 6th, you come out and vote, and I will be ever so grateful if it's for me.
Thank you, Miss Lambert. Mr. Oostindie.
Just about got the pronunciation perfect.
Next time. Someday.
As I already mentioned, I've just retired and I've begun reimagining my next work life, and my timing is your advantage. My vice principal career is no barrier to serve you anymore. My children are adults. My volunteerism is alive and well. With 35 years of intense youth work, it creates a bias inside your mind. I have seen diverse family values, but all families wish for healthy youth. The town is one partner in that village that raises a child. We can support youth through our town's recreation, sports, arts, and culture programs. Helping youth actually helps all of us. Let's grow our town. One of the identified long-term plans for our town notices that there's not enough housing for our seniors. Let's make sure we move forward thinking about those and making sure our young families still are able to live here too. When I was a teen, my dad says, you take your skills and you do the best job you can for the most people. Vote so I can.
Thank you, Mr. Oostindie. Mr. Williams.
So I've never been a politician before, so this whole process has been kind of new to me. I don't have the campaigning experience or the coaching that some of these other candidates have. So thank you for bearing with me tonight. As a volunteer, I've always kind of preferred to work behind the scenes where I could just kind of keep my head down and get the work that needs to be done. And like all the other candidates, and I'm guessing all of you, we all love this town. I've been here 10 years. This is my home. This is going to be my home probably forever. So, and that's why I'm running. I want to do my part to help make this community, I think it's very good. I don't, but obviously with the questions we've heard tonight, may not quite be perfect or great. But I think working together, we can make it great. And that's what I want to do. So I hope on September 6th, or I guess actually starting tomorrow with the advance voting, that I can count on your support. My website is mikeforsylvan with 4.ca. And if you want to find out more, check me out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Lauder.
Thank you, and thank you again to the Chamber for allowing us to have the opportunity to speak here tonight. I failed to mention, I think almost everybody else did, how long they've been living here. Well, my children are 4th generation Sylvan Lakers. We've been around for quite some time. And what I'm going to bring to Town Council is a sense of diversity. I want to make sure you understood when I said that there's other business leaders. Well, I do love business, obviously. I encourage business, and I will do everything I can to keep business. It's just not my focus, and that's okay, because like I said before, we have 3 people who are focusing on business. Like Jordan said as well, I'd like to go back to the performing arts. And my idea for that is actually to work with the new high school that's going to be built and have a town and school collaboration to build a performing arts studio there. A large one that'll be part of the high school. And so it'll be offered for town as well as the high school. And as a parent of a child in theater, I think that's a great idea.
Thank you, Ms. Lauder. Ms. Wiens.
Well, first I would like to thank the Chamber for putting this on. And secondly, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Sawchuk. I have done this 3 times, and every time you've done it, it's been impeccable. And I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
And I'd like to thank all of you here and all of you at home. We're all busy, and you're taking time out of your day. So I really, really do appreciate it. And I think everyone has a sense of who everyone is here. And if you're not sure who you're going to vote for yet today, please go to their Facebook pages or websites and look it up, look and ask, because you know in your gut who you're going to vote for already. You know that, likely. And I would love if you voted for me, but like I said, I think all people here are good, and it's what is going to work for you, and join this council to make Sylvan amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiens. Mr. Plante.
Well, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge all of the other candidates, because this is not an easy task even to be up here. And to be able to put their name forward and say that they would come and serve in Sylvan Lake is absolutely honoring. And then I look at all the councillors that are in the room tonight, they're here as well, because you know what, they love Sylvan Lake. Regardless of what the outcome of this election is, I'm not going to stop working in Sylvan Lake. I'm not going to stop volunteering, because this is my home. And so it's not about just an election. It's about our future. And so I'm very passionate about that. I've lived in 17 different communities, and I can tell you what, there's absolutely nothing like Sylvan Lake and the services that we have here. We should be proud. You're proud because you're here tonight. And I think this crowd, even what you're going to have on August 31st at a crowd, look at this, because you're really, really keen about this. So no matter what happens on that date, I am going to take time and I'm going to answer the questions. I wrote them down tonight that were not answered, and I'm going to answer the questions on my Facebook page so that there's an answer from me on those, because we didn't have the time tonight. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Plante. Ms. Bishop.
Thank you. I had some notes, but I have another thought now. Doing this campaign has really opened my eyes to all the amazing residents in town. I didn't realize as I was going door to door, bothering you during dinner, terrifying yourself or your pets, that I would meet so many incredible people in town. And I do want to thank you for welcoming me to your door. Many people offered me water when it was 30 degrees outside, and me and my husband and my friends were helping me campaign. So I really appreciate the community that I feel I have formed, regardless of the election results. There were so many questions I really would have enjoyed answering for you tonight, and I hope to have the opportunity later on social media, like my friends here, But I do want you to know that I can drive change, I can make progress happen. I have a track record to prove that I hope you will take time to learn about between now and the election. Advanced polling starts on the 2nd, so don't go tomorrow. It starts on the 2nd and the 3rd, and then the election is on the 6th. Thank you all for coming, and I look forward to getting to know you better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Mr. Scott.
Well, thank you. I'm going to echo what most people have said. The candidates, this is crazy. I've been on the other side of the fence for 11 years, and running around every night to fix my signs is not what I envisioned. But it takes a lot to stand up and do that. Thank you for coming out. Like you say, it's 31 degrees, and you came out here to listen to us. So appreciated. You guys are awesome. I have been in the town for 11 years, working in the town, and here for 23. I would love to put my experience to work on town council. I do focus on resident-focused, visitor-friendly, and a family-first community. It's an amazing place to raise a family. We raised our 3 daughters, and they absolutely loved it here. I would advocate for that consistently and continuously. To that end, I'd like to thank my family. They're not here right now. They helped me with signs, my camera person, etc. And I have a bunch of bloopers coming out tomorrow because I really messed up. Anyways, please get out and vote. I'm going to spill the beans here. If it's a tie, apparently they flip a coin. Don't make us do that. Vote.
I flipped the coin. I have the coin. So, thank you all candidates for coming out. It's everybody here is really glad to hear from you. You've all got some great ideas. Thank you guys for coming out today to ask your questions. Engagement's really important. The election's on September 6th. Make sure you go out and vote. I'd also, before we leave, I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting tonight's event and the Town of Sylvan Lake for streaming the event online. It'll also be on the town's YouTube page. If you want a good time, go check that out. And for donating the room tonight. So thank you, candidates, for coming. I think we all appreciated your time tonight.